you won't have to remember all this.
Okay. So I just basically talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're having a conversation. I'm learning about you. And you're
Okay.
just giving me advice.
Okay.
We're rolling.
Okay, so let's introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is KRS-ONE. That's an acronym for Knowledge Reigns Supreme Over Nearly Everyone. And the reason we say nearly everyone is because knowledge does not rule over everyone. The spirit has captivated many people. So we say knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. Most people are governed by knowledge, some by the spirit. I'm 39 years old. I was born August 20th, 1965 in Brooklyn, New York. I lived about 7 years in Brooklyn, about 7 years in Harlem, and about another 7 years in the Bronx. I did that backwards. My Bronx years started when I was 7. And that's where I became introduced to hip hop. And in about 1972, I used to go to these park gatherings with a guy named Cool DJ Herc. And Cool DJ Herc is now recognized as the father of hip hop. Later in 1974, I would join up with another group called Zulu Nation under Africa Bambaataa, and then that would start my MCing career. Right.
Tell me and what you're doing right now in a complete sentence.
Okay. Right now, I have 13 albums out. My latest album is called Keep Right. I'm an author. I wrote a book called Ruminations, which is a collection of my thoughts and ideas and so on. I was head of A&R for Warner Brothers Records for about 2 years, 1998 to 2000, a little bit of 2001. And now I'm an inspirational speaker. I speak about metaphysics and philosophy, general philosophy. My specific specialty is in a concept called urban inspirational metaphysics. Urban inspirational metaphysics is the street version of general metaphysics. General metaphysics talks about first causes, time, space, essence, identity, these kinds of things, cosmology, etymology, where does things come from? Urban inspirational metaphysics is how do you use that knowledge in everyday life? Most metaphysicians talk about, well, if the cup is half full or half empty, if that whole thing. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. Abstract theories. Urban inspirational metaphysics discusses the first causes to political and social issues in a philosophical sense.
With regard to that, tell me how did you get brought into that? Why is it now a passion to educate these youngsters on the street and let them know there's a higher knowledge than just success or materialism or the American dream in a
Sure.
sentence?
Well, my passion for educating or inspiring uh, my generation as well as the younger generation as to more than the material world comes from my mother. Years ago, when I was younger, my mother was a practicing metaphysician herself. And she put my foot on the path to metaphysical philosophy. But obviously, it was the standard stuff, meditation, auras, science of mind, this kind of stuff. And I left home when I was about 15 years old with this knowledge to become a philosopher and to become an MC. That was my passion. I wanted to be a metaphysician and an MC. Actually, to MC about metaphysics, to rap about metaphysics. So when I got into hip hop, and picked up the mic to actually do this, it was a natural thing for me. From the first time I started in my career as a rapper, I was known as The Teacher. That's Teacha. Different from an ER teacher. I'm one of the guys on the corner that's actually inspiring you. Not a lot of words, although you can imagine I talk a lot, but it's more about teaching through example, teaching through real life experiences. Most people who learn with me, I say, I have nothing to tell you, I have something to show you. Those that learn with me or join our school called the Temple of Hip Hop, the first thing I say to them is that I have nothing to tell you. I have nothing to teach you through my words. I have something to show you. There is an experience that you have to go through to really learn what urban inspirational metaphysics is. We talk about the difference between understanding and overstanding. To understand is to be taught something and have a comprehension of taught knowledge. But to overstand is to experience the knowledge you've been taught.
You tell me about your mother and how she was inspiring. Tell me what about her, your parental upbringing, was the most inspiring with regard to how you view the world and society today?
My mother was my key inspiration in my life, and here's how she was that key inspiration. First of all, it's the 70s. She was a single parent, black woman, obviously, single parent in the 70s. She was on welfare, and she went to school, got a master's degree in business. She drove a cab. She also used to meet a different men, boyfriends and stuff, and never could get her man thing together. Always meet these guys. It was just so on such a lower level than as she explained it to us, me and my brother Kenny. So I grew up with this idea that I had to be more than just the average man. My mother would instill in us that she used to say, don't be one of these wimpy men out here in the street, don't be one of these men that I'm with. And I grew up with that, actually, that I always I wanted my mother to be proud of me. And so I began to do everything in my power to be a man's man, but not this macho image of a man, but more of a spiritual man, a man that is unafraid of the spiritual life, a man who may have gay friends but be heterosexual, a man who shows respect to women and don't have to feel that he's being that he feels intimidated by a woman with knowledge or a career woman or a strong woman in any regard in that sense. All that comes from my mother, and she was an inspiration to me in that sense. So I grew up in that, and then of course when I pick up the mic as a rapper, MC, this all came out, as this is the type of person I'm going to present myself as.
Let me switch